All right.
Check one, check one.
We're good to go.
All right. Welcome back to the Graybeard Podcast, everyone. Patrick, do you know how important it is, photography? Do you know how important photos are?
Oh, they're pretty damn important.
You know what I mean? Because, like, my memory is shit. And most people's memory is shit. So, it's important to be, to have those memories captured.
Oh, yeah. I like to look back on them all the time.
Yeah, for sure. And you get to see, like, what you look like when you're a teen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugly as
I
hell.
mean, you pretty much look the same. But speaking about that, see, like, I'm trying this new intro thing. It's not working out 100%. But we're working it out. We'll get there.
Finish it.
So, guys, tonight my guest is Andy Varnes, professional photographer, and so much more. Say hello to Andy.
Thank you. I like it.
Crowd's going wild.
Yeah, the live studio audience is here for you.
I know. This is awesome. Sounds so full. It's awesome.
Right. Appreciate it, man. I thank you for coming. Hopefully, it wasn't a terrible trip.
No, it was awesome. Awesome.
Good.
Like, this is such an awesome setup. As soon as I walked in, it's like, oh, this is legit.
It does freak people out. They're like, oh God, I'm going out to their garage, and then you go out and you see all the dog food and shit like that, and you're like, oh, make a right, and there it is. But
behind the curtain, go behind the curtain.
The man behind the curtain. I appreciate you saying that. It is a labor of love. But,
absolutely.
Because I've definitely fallen in love with this format of creativity, whatever you want to call it. But so. We'll go into, and I'll tell you, so you said you watched a couple of the episodes, but I'll tell you, like, I'm not a big, like, interviewer,
Yeah.
We do a little bit of that in the beginning just because I want my viewers to get to know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And like I told you, I don't do a lot of research. So I like to, we're going to get to know him at the same time. So, it's good like that.
I like it. I like it. We kind of figure it out as we go. So
absolutely.
Before we get started,
Sure.
I will have to say,
please do.
I don't know if you've seen this statistic to where it's like 1% of podcasts only make it to like episode 20.
Yeah.
And how many are you on?
We're in the hundreds.
Okay, so if you make it to like 100, I think you're in like the 0.% of that 1%.
Right.
So,
yeah, we're and I don't see an end. Like I can do this until I can't move. I mean, I could, and even then I'll just wheel myself into position and do it anyways. I love to talk. I love to meet people. I'm a super introvert, so like being out.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I think we met at the place where photographers meet and models meet and networking happens, the Collab Cafe.
Absolutely.
We spoke for a few minutes, and the fact that you got me to talk at all was like amazing.
Well, all right. I'm the same way. I will say I am very similar with you to where I am very introverted at heart to where I am not wanting to go out to like a bar or a club or anything like that. But good conversation, I'm always for it.
Absolutely. And for me, this is the best way to get to know somebody, and it's quiet, it's intimate. We're here. No one's going to bother us. We're not having to shout over a bunch of people. And there's no like 2-drink minimum or anything. So, But Andy, so I'll go ahead and hit you with some of the questions that I ask you. Are you from Jacksonville?
I am born and raised.
Okay.
Born and raised.
All right. That's good, man. I mean, I am also a local yokel.
Love it.
I grew up in Mandarin,
Yep.
and then moved out here when I got married 100 years ago.
Before the war.
Yeah, thank you for that. But yeah, so I would ask you how you like it in Jacksonville, but obviously you love it.
Yeah, I mean it's changing for sure. I will say that.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
And I know you can probably like attest to it. Of just
100%.
The last 10 years, it's just been crazy,
blowing up.
I went, and again, it's kind of the same as you grow up here. I went off to college, and it's like, all right, I'm never coming back to Jacksonville. It's like
I'm done with this place.
Growing up like Jacksonville, it's just it is literally the worst place to live because it's still a city, but at the same time you're like, this is like the beaches are here, but like they're not pretty beaches compared to like a Miami, and there's no mountains here, but it's still hot and like there's just pine trees all over the place. So, but then, you come back and you're like, okay. All right, this is nice.
It's quaint.
This is nice. It's quaint. It's got everything you need.
Yeah.
And then some more. good people.
Well, I know like Jack's Beach, even when I was a kid, I didn't like going to Jack's Beach. My mom used to take us to St. Augustine, because you could drive on the beach and park your car, and like you could have all your shit right there. You turn the car radio on and just rock out. Plus, every year for summer, we would get a condo right on Anastasia Island, right on one of those little condos along the beach. It was dope. So I kind of got spoiled with that. And then so Jack's Beach was like,
you go there.
But it was way dirty when I was a kid growing up. Like you literally be walking around or in the ocean, you come out and you'd have fucking bags and trash on you. So it was just one of the reasons I stayed away so long. But it seems like there's people out there that give a shit now.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely it's definitely improving for sure. The water, sadly, I don't know if it'll ever be like clear, but it is what it is. But
too much feces,
too much runoff from the river,
too many endangered feces. Hold on. When did you get into photography, man?
Oh gosh, all right. So I got into it when I was 19, so about 6 years ago. So
young fella.
Yeah. I what ended up happening was I went up. I was from here. Played some sports. Got an opportunity to go play in college. Went up to college. I was not very good and got hurt very quickly.
Oh no! What sport?
Basketball, actually.
Okay.
Looking at me, I know that wouldn't look the case.
I mean, I don't know. I am like the dumbest person when it comes. Well, I'm pretty dumb anyways, but I have no idea about sports, so I wouldn't be sizing you up in that way.
Well, short white guys are generally not the best demographic.
I got you.
So yeah, that was. But yeah, I went up there and I'm about like 6 foot, and the guys that I was playing against were like 6'8", which meant like their elbows were right where my head generally is.
So you're 6 feet and you're a short white guy?
Oh yeah.
I'm 5'8". I'm fucked.
It was for the people I was around. That was
right.
That was definitely
like what's in the issue. What are they putting in the food these days?
For real.
There they go. It wouldn't be a podcast without my dogs barking.
See, I don't think anybody would have noticed that. If
I do.
Bring it up.
I know. People tell me that all the time. My buddy Russell, he'll tell me, "Fucking stop saying that stuff, man. Nobody fucking cares." I'm like, I feel like if I say something, like apologize for them or whatever happens, I always like, okay, I'll get a pass, but it's just
all good.
My brain. Sorry, they're barking at the construction guys. They've been out there all day. Yeah. So, anyways, you went off to college.
Yeah.
And you played basketball, but you said poorly.
Yeah. Well, I actually I didn't even get into the game. I got hurt a week before the first game.
Oh,
so like
shit,
I don't
what
even
happened?
say I have a basketball career. Well, took a little elbow to the head, and they were like, "All right, you're good. Too many concussions. You're done." And so, but the coach,
one elbow,
one elbow,
but it gave you a concussion.
Oh yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one.
Damn.
But yeah, great shot. But the coach was
great
like,
shot.
The coach was like, hey, do you cut to the camera of the coffee spilling?
Yeah, I know, right?
but the
shit
coach,
happens.
The coach was like, you can still be a part of the team. We got
the bench.
We got some options for you. Basically, be like the team manager, photographer, media little person. And so that's kind of how I got into it, to where it was literally something to do.
Right.
And kind of fell in love with it. Just kind of fell into, let's just try all these crazy things, because like my thought was, I'm gonna go to college and be here for 4 years and play a sport for 4 years, and then after that I'm just gonna figure out whatever I want to do with my life, because all I really cared about was sports and doing different things.
Didn't you major in anything in school?
I mean
I don't know. I never went to college.
Yeah. Well, let's just say it was one of those to where I was the type of kid like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm just going to go there and kind of figure it out. And so then I was left with the opportunity of, all right, well, I'm not going to be playing sports anymore. I got to figure something out. So I was like, well, let's just start trying different things. And tried anything from music, tried photography, tried art, do art stuff of sculpting and painting and drawing, and I failed at a lot of different things. I attempted a clothing line.
Okay.
Attempted the little vinyl print on it, and and like tried to do that on my mother's dining room table.
Oh, you fucked up her table.
Oh, just completely just tore off the
Good job.
varnish and everything.
Nice.
So that one didn't last too long. try to wristband.
Did
business.
you get another concussion after that?
Just about.
Jesus.
But yeah, tried a bunch of things. Failed at most of them, almost all of them. Photography,
just kind of stuck.
Yeah, it kind of stuck. It was fun. It was a good time, and I think honestly, my friends liked it because they got all the free pictures, and we just kind of do some, cool little fun stuff, and just kind of fell into it. And then when I came back to Jacksonville, I was still going to school and doing it on the side, and then eventually just built up a business to scale it, and then went full time after COVID. And scaled that
Which
into
one would think that would be the worst time to start a photography business.
Well, I did it after COVID.
Right.
So
I know. When everybody was locked in place and only the essential people were out making money, everybody was just, trying to fritter away that, money that the government, what was that, the stimulus package?
The stimulus and everything.
Yeah.
Like, it was, I mean, well, but honestly, I hate to say it, I was I was one of the ones that was kind of still going out and like doing all the different shoots and everything like that. And so I was just building connections while I was out there.
I was essential. So I had paperwork in my car that said I could be out.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So on
See,
my days off, I'd be out at the beach, taking pictures of fucking nothing. No one, closed down restaurants and shit, but.
Those are some of the best pictures.
Yeah,
Like
eerie.
I have a shot of down at like the town center at like 5 p.m. and it's just completely barren. It looks like an apocalypse.
Yeah.
And it's like never in history
has it been that empty.
Yeah, will it ever look like that ever again?
Right. Like even when they were building it, it was more cars.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the area of town that I live in.
Yeah.
And in December it is. You cannot go within a 5-mile radius of that place.
No, I very much dislike going to anywhere but here.
Yeah.
I say that like all my friends are in Riverside.
Yep.
Almost, except for him. He lives right down the street. But almost all my friends live in Riverside. I fucking can't stand Riverside. Yeah. Like there's no parking. There's everything is just so
so nut to butt there. Everything's so close there.
Yeah. It is nut to butt for sure. But I don't know. But Southside is so vast. It's so big. That town center is just so damn big. It's like another country almost.
It's its own city.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure. I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying, it's just not my cup of tea.
Definitely get that. Definitely. I like that Jacksonville. Like one good thing about Jacksonville is everything has its own little. It's one city, but you got your own sections. You got your own little areas that like, okay, if you want to have a downtown feel and like look like kind of like the urban feel, all right, you got that. If you want to live like the person that works with me now, he was like, I spent 2 years without ever going like over the bridge from Jack's Beach. Like I just lived. I did not cross over into the actual Jacksonville side for 2 years.
Right.
And it's like you can do that.
Yeah, you sure can. I mean, and there's something for everybody. There's a spot for everyone. Sorry. Excuse me. So sorry. Sorry to you guys, too. What was I got? There was a question that was popping into my brain.
I'll think about it for a second.
I know we were talking about photography, but somehow somewhere.
What do you got, Patty?
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner came in. Said,
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Said, do you guys shoot film photography? ?
Okay, so I actually got started in film photography.
So did I.
That was that, and I got a C in that class.
That was one of my only A's. But back when I was, so when you were 19 and when I was 19, it was different. There was no digital back when I was in shooting in school. I took photography, for like 2 years in school, which is where I kind of got into it. But it was all film. There was none of that shit. It was all we all shot on Pentax K1000s with some what was it? It was Ilford. I can't remember the make and model, but I just remember it was Ilford film that my teacher had this giant roll. And she would just take a reel and just spool it all into there like that, and then here you go. And we would have free film, every time we needed it. We had just.
Now, did you go in and like develop it in the dark rooms where you had to turn the lights off and put it in the canister?
Everything.
I remember. So the first time I ever did that,
nerve-wracking.
Lights are off. I spilt the whole thing everywhere. Ruined the whole film. I was like, and I couldn't find the light switch and knocked over like 3 other things. I was like, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yes,
it was terrible.
No, it is cumbersome to fucking develop film. We used to have these little bags that would sit on the table, and you could put your arms into them, and to get the actual film into the canister. And I didn't like doing it because you have to feel it, and if you don't do it right, the film could touch, and then you'll burn the fucking images. Well, I had a friend named John in school, and I would pay him $5, and he would do it for me. And then I would just put all the chemicals in and shake them up, pour them out, and all that shit. And then I would, of course, what do you call it? It's not printing, but there was it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
my brain. But yeah, terms. Words, mouth noises.
So yes, we have done some film work.
Yes, we
past.
have. Thank you, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Who I don't know who that is, but we have people chiming in the live.
That's awesome.
So these are people that probably people that you know. Yeah. They might be your people. I don't know. Everybody has their little fun YouTube handles.
Yeah.
Like everybody, the keyboard warriors, they just jump in and say whatever because they're hiding behind their little tag or whatever, so it's always kind of weird. At any rate, so he might pop in and say some things here and there.
All right, well, cool.
But yeah, if you are in here right now and listening, please drop a like, and if you could subscribe.
For sure, subscribe.
Oh, he said it's Urban Curse.
Oh, what's up, man? Urban Curse.
That's one of your guys.
Yes. From the Troubleshoot in Reality podcast.
Nice.
All right.
Absolutely.
Cool. Very nice. Welcome.
Yeah, he just got that shout out. What's up? We're trying to collaborate too, but which is the coolest part about Jacksonville, to be honest with you, here as of late. And not we'll get back to your evolution, but it's just like I just kind of like the amount of networking and the amount of people wanting to collaborate with each other and lift each other up is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in the last probably 3 years, it's really taken off. And it
really has.
It may have always been there. I just didn't know about it.
I don't think so. I mean, when I was when I was a young buck, I was in a band for like 7 years, and
and there was nothing.
It was really bad. I mean, the music scene was horrible. I mean, there was a couple little dive bars we could play in, but there was no we didn't have groups of people like we have now, especially with photographers like at the collab or whatever. Everybody they're like, "Oh my God, I saw what you did. It's so great." And it wasn't like that. So, I mean, I feel like it's getting much better now. There's so much creativity in Jacksonville.
There's so many little places kind of popping up and everything. Yeah. They're kind of like little networking spots. Different studios. There's probably what 7, 8 studios now to go and shoot at
least. Yeah. Which freaks me out because I was like, I thought when I told you I had a little brick and mortar, I was just like, I thought I was behind the 8 ball because where we were at, there was 2 studios right beside us already. And I was like, shit. And the first time I walked into collab, I was like, this is what our shop, this is what it was supposed to be. Yeah. But it was not.
It is what it is.
But it is what it is. Yeah, it's all a learning experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you went to college, got hurt, started shooting photography, came back to Jacksonville, and you were still in school.
Yeah, so
I think that's where we left off.
Yeah, so I came. Yeah, I know. Hey, we're moving quick. We're moving quick.
Yeah. But, slow down. We got time.
Yeah, I came back. This is 2019. So this is I come back summertime, and I'm just figuring it out. Let's see what's going on. Again, I had no idea that photography would actually become a career.
Right.
My dad works in construction.
Okay.
If I'd be like, Dad, I'm not gonna be a photographer, he'd be like,
boy, pick up that shovel.
Yeah, he'd be like, all right, cool. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
So football season came around. I had like a family friend, and she was like, we had a photographer come out, did like a terrible job. We just need some like photos for the yearbook, and it was Terry Parker High School.
Okay.
So I'm like, cool. I'm not doing anything on a Friday night.
Might as well.
Might as well. So I go out, and I'm just kind of taking some photos, and where they're playing First Coast High School, and one of the players reaches out. He's like, hey, who you shooting for? And I'm like, I'm just I'm just out here. Like, this is before. Like, if you go on the sidelines of a high school football game now, it's packed.
Yeah.
But back then, nothing. Like, no, it was the news that would get, their
Carte
their
blanche.
their little thing for their, the highlights that night.
Yeah.
Everything else was nothing.
Yeah.
So I definitely stuck out. And so I was like, I'm just kind of out here, and they're like, can you take some photos for me? And I'm like,
Oh,
sure.
wow.
So I'm shooting for both teams. I send them the photos, and at the time, I'm like, I got nothing to do. Here you go, and it was cool. They gave me a little shout out on the bottom of their line. I'm not charging anything.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I do that for like 2 or 3 games, and then I'm like, I might be able to make some money for it. So
Right.
I charge a very high price.
Wow. Okay.
$1 per photo. and then $5 for all the photos I took.
Oh.
Which,
it's like lunch money for the
which
week,
is
man.
like when you get started, you know how it's just like you take thousands. You're just shooting like.
So you would just give them your entire library?
Like, here you go
For $5.
$5.
Ooh. I hope you don't do that now.
It was not a good business plan then, but
yeah, you didn't know what you were doing.
I was 19 and I'm like, I made $50 this game.
Yeah.
If I went to go work somewhere else, I was gonna be making like $30 for the amount of like hourly wages, and I get to kind of do this thing for fun and stuff. And but yeah, quickly, things started coming in, and at the time, like there was literally, I think 2 other individuals out there that were shooting, and that was a guy named Nathan Bloomberg and Aaron Berkshire, if you know who that is.
I do.
Yeah,
I follow him on Instagram as well.
Yeah, so basically it was us 3. As well as a guy named Eli Elmore, who he didn't do sports, but he was kind of out there a little bit too.
Right.
But that was kind of the main people that were around for literally all of Jacksonville.
Okay. For high school shooting?
Yeah, for like high school shooting, and it kind of like merged into it, and it was an awesome time and kind of figuring it out. But by the end of the season, somehow I had worked myself into shooting the final game for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah. I've seen some of your reels. You're out on the out on the field.
Yeah, and the way it works, and it kind of like proved a testament to me to kind of this is what you should just do for everything. Was I was out there, and I'm just a curious person to where if you seem interesting, I'm gonna go try to have just like a conversation with you and just be like, what's up, like, super cool meeting you, and I'd meet different people out there, and then literally it was like a few days before the game, they called me and they're like, hey, our photographer's sick. Can you shoot the game?
Wow.
And it was for a magazine here in Jacksonville, and I'm like, sure. And so we went out there, shot the game. It was awesome, and then COVID shuts down everything. Yeah. Well, during this time, I've the photography kick is like it's in, like it's on. I'm shooting everything. I am like addicted to just like creating content and everything. I'm making no money, by the way.
Right.
Nothing. Okay. Like I have made probably total from my little $1 to $5. I've probably made for an entire season maybe like $400.
Right.
So it's literally just for fun. And so I was just DMing all these different people on Instagram. I was DMing all these trainers, and I still have all these screenshots.
Yeah.
And one of the trainers, his name's Kareem Birch. He actually hit me back, which was kind of crazy because a lot of people didn't want free stuff.
Yeah.
Which I was a little surprised at. I'm like, I was just like,
you talking about the players?
Huh? Well, no, literally anybody.
Just anybody.
Anybody that I could go do a cool shoot for, whether that was like a personal trainer or
okay.
I understood. I was like, I'm not getting into any of these players. I understand that.
I think with that they feel like you get what you pay for kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
I had a car detailing business,
Gotcha.
and I used to charge beans, and I'd be doing Suburbans and
really?
giant vehicles for like $50.
Really?
This little old lady goes, son, you just did a great job on my car. You're only charging me $50. Like you need to charge more. You'll get more business.
Yep. And you learn that the hard way over time. So,
right.
But yeah, that was kind of what I did. And then I meet a guy named Kareem Birch, and he doesn't post anything. I just see he's a trainer. And so I'm like, all right, cool. Let me just go out, shoot some stuff for him. Well, then fast forward to COVID. I see he's doing some training stuff out there, and I'm like, hey, I'll come out, do some stuff. There's nothing to do.
Yeah.
I pull up, and every wide receiver, every defensive back for the Jaguars is out there working. So I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay, cool. So I start going out there and shooting and then sending them to the Jaguars to post and then kind of build a little relationship there. But that was kind of the start into this kind of like photography, part-time, figuring things out, being like, I can actually like make money doing this.
Right.
And like figuring it out and kind of like, figuring out what this kind of could look like. And so did that for basically did this kind of part-time thing. And then 2021, I hit the point to where I was getting a lot of business just from word of mouth.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, let's go full time into it. And I don't know.
That's kind of from
now,
there.
A few years later, I'm in the Graybeard podcast.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to take the same path. But I don't do this for money, and I don't really care if it ever makes money. But it'd be nice. I'd like to be able to pay this guy or whatever.
Fuck all that.
No, I'm just
fun.
You know what I'm saying. If we could do this full time, I would
Yeah.
love it. I would do a podcast every day, maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But it's interesting, and I kind of, I know I said I don't do research, but I kind of trolled a little bit your page and stuff, and I was just like, how is it, especially in the time frame that you're talking about, it was really difficult for most of my photographer friends. It was because money was tight and people didn't want to. Unless you were in the right circles, and obviously you got in with the right people, the people that actually had money, they had that disposable income. And, because honestly, photography at that time was just like one of those things that was like, I'll just use my phone.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we, all the photographers I knew and people on the internet that you follow or whatever, they kind of got worried that phones were going to take over. But going full time, I've always preached to people like, don't worry, it'll come. You got to work hard, but in the meantime, if you got to take a job,
do it.
Pay your fucking bills. You got to do what you got to do. And I've always had a job, and like we said, like we talked about before we started rolling, is like I'm starting to see that the more and more we do things, and the more and more I talk to people like yourself, is like you're just gonna have to, and of course watching Gary V. It's like you just got to go and you just got to do it. But also, like I said, I'm not ready to lose everything.
Yeah.
So, I got too many people that rely on me. But so I'm happy doing what I'm doing right now. But it's really cool that you were able to actually break into full time doing that. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to kill them dogs. They are going ham.
Going ham tonight.
Yeah. Carry on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Text my girlfriend.
So how I was able to kind of go full time into everything, I think it was definitely a couple things. The first one was I was definitely younger than most.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of pros and there were a lot of cons. So the big pro, which kind of goes into where like now if I wanted to go full time, it would be much harder. And it's because I got more responsibility. I have bills. I got a mortgage to pay. I got all this stuff. Back then, if I made $1,500 a month, I was living large.
Right.
Like I got like my rent is a few $100. My car was already paid for, so I just had to pay for some gas and some insurance, and I was like, I can live off of this right here.
Cash cars are great.
So that was my barrier to entry. Firstly, so that was a pro of being young, and you don't have many responsibilities to kind of double and you can kind of double down on it because you can be way more risky. The con was I didn't have any necessary experience, as well as nobody was going to trust me necessarily until I had like some a lot of like proven wins in portfolio.
Right.
So definitely like it was, I'm telling you, like it was absolutely a pure like God thing that I went from not being like never shooting a football game to by the end of the season shooting it like the last Jaguar game.
Right.
And so that was able to carry me to where when COVID was starting to end, they could go on, and they wanted to look me up, they could see photos that I'd been on the field at least. And so that kind of gave a little bit of of like a green flag of saying, okay, well, if he's doing this, then he can probably do
You got your foot
this
in the
little
door.
$150 shoot.
Right.
So that was the first thing, and then the final thing that if anybody is trying to get into becoming full time in what they're doing, it really, really helped that I understood that my time was essentially worthless at the time. To where if I went to go work somewhere, I was making like $15 an hour if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
So
You do a lot of free shit.
I
in the beginning.
understood. I was like, any sort of like any sort of connections. Like I was like, I have so much essentially just like free time that I can use as my marketing, as in go to shoots and go and network and meet people and do all of this stuff. Like I was essentially just I was using like play money essentially,
Right.
in my opinion, to where, I was choosing to go and meet people and be creative over playing video games or going to hang out with friends, to where like that time was I wasn't making any money in that time anyway. So instead of doing that, let's go do something creative instead.
Right.
So,
you can pull that thing to you.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
You don't have to lean up.
oh yeah,
Get
I
comfortable.
don't know where to sit. Yeah, there we go. All right.
Just bring it with you when you lean back.
But yeah, that was those were definitely some really, really big advantages that I had to that. And it was, I kind of understood that, it's kind of like photography is a lot like being a real estate agent. If you know a
Okay.
real estate agent, they're a real estate agent.
Mm-hmm.
Like they
sell.
They let you know that, do you want to buy a house? Call me.
Yeah, yeah.
And
you have to sell yourself.
It takes forever to get that first house for them.
Mhm.
It'll take them 2 years to get one house.
Right.
And then it'll take them 6 months to get a second house. And then it will take them 3 months to get a third house.
Okay.
But then it's this compound interest of, oh, I heard you from so-and-so, and I heard you from so-and-so, and I
Yeah.
heard you from so-and-so. And it's just this compounding effect of word of mouth that is going to push you over the edge
Right.
into eventually, hopefully going full-time.
Right. Yeah. Now you've outside of photography, I mean, which you're doing great, by the way. I love all your stuff, and I think it's.
Appreciate it.
I'm not a big sports fan, but I do like you, and like you brought up Aaron. Like I love seeing y'all's stuff.
Yeah.
It's great. My friend Russell, him and his daughter. He's with So Scenic Photography. I'm sure you've met him.
Yeah, I've seen him. Yeah, I've seen his stuff.
They do great work as well together. But so, are you doing more videography right now than photography? Or are you just kind of dabbling in that? Or
I actually primarily do social media management now.
Okay.
I got started in photography.
that was my next, let's move into, because you do other things besides just photography.
Yeah. I started in photography and then eventually moved into photography and videography.
Right.
And then I was kind of going down that path, and I got thrown into some other businesses and kind of figuring things out. And then as I'm working photography, videography for these clients, doing whatever little shoots they needed done, and I'm charging, $100 or $500 to shoot, and they're putting it out on their social media, and I'm realizing that it's one of two things: either they don't have a social media to push it out to,
Right.
or they have one and they're not running it correctly, or they think they're doing a really good job because someone else is running it. And the someone else that's running it has just filled their account full of fake followers.
Ooh,
which
gross.
that's
gross.
what really kind of pissed me off, because I felt so bad, because you'd have these older individuals that don't really know social media that think they have 50,000 followers. Not you, a little older. But they'd be like, "Oh, I have 50,000 followers," and it's like, no,
you don't.
it's like, no, you don't. Like,
Those are glamour numbers.
you're
man.
getting 3 likes a post. Like this isn't you were
Yeah,
really
these aren't fans.
hurting yourself,
Right.
And so I kind of got into that, and that's essentially what I do now, which is there's a lot of social media stuff.
Yeah. And that is a tough.
It's terrible.
That's a tough place to be.
It's terrible.
I've got some friends, that do that, the social media marketing stuff. And
it's tough.
I mean, obviously they charge very, very well for what they do,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't afford anybody to do that. So I'm out here, with I feel like Jack on the door getting pushed off, and like there's enough room. No, okay, but like I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just doing shit and throwing they say throw shit against the wall and see what sticks.
You're posting and hoping that it finds the right audience.
Right, and I also, and this probably has something to do, and you probably. You could probably look at my social media page and go, this is an old fuck that just doesn't care. I care, but I'll post and ghost. I don't like being on social media. I want to promote this.
Yep.
I haven't posted anything on my photography page in so long.
Yeah.
It's just like but it's weird. Like when I don't post on Instagram or Facebook, I get more word of mouth calls. Like I've had people calling me to do this, do that.
It's because you're probably out meeting people and talking
Not
to
really.
people.
I'm on the couch watching anime, bro. Well, I'm just not promoting myself as a photographer right now because I feel like I get overwhelmed. And I don't have a team. Mm-hmm. I don't have people that are looking after me. And a lot of photographers, especially new ones. This podcast was invented for people. I basically started it for beginners and intermediate photographers.
Yeah.
To help them. And before I started doing the interview stuff, it was just me talking, and I would try and anything I learned or whatever new technique or something, I would try and say it in a way that like they might understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because a lot of when I was, newer in the digital world, shit was different. And I was starting to watch these YouTube channels and I'm like, what are they talking about?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is that? I can't think of any terms right now that blew my mind.
RAW. That one was mine. I was like, what's
okay,
this JPEG and RAW?
Yeah, I was like
what's
exactly.
RAW?
Yeah, exactly. Those
I remember did you ever watch the dude with the big afro and he had the I shoot RAW? He's got it right there.
Yeah, the Fro Nation.
I used to feel so bad because I was like, I don't even know what raw means.
Yeah, I've got like 3 I Shoot Raw T-shirts.
Oh really?
Yeah, I love that guy. He's
awesome.
He's a supreme. I mean, he'll tell you he's like I'm a dick, but but he's not really. He just plays one on TV.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes you have to be.
Absolutely.
In that profession because I feel like. Not saying I'm going down the path that he's going because that motherfucker's he's doing it. Mm-hmm. He's got like 4 buildings and all this, just doing it. But as far as like what he categorized, I'm a photographer with a podcast, and so the podcast may not always be photography. I got lucky having you on. I enjoy having photographers on because it's what I know. Photographers, videographers, it's what I know. I'm not the best at it. I'll never say that I am, but I think you got to stay a little humble about things, but as far as like this podcast goes, and the photography thing, it is what it is. I'll take what I can get. And I'm all right until then. You know what I'm saying?
You hit on the, I know I'm not the best. And I think every photographer goes through like 3 phases to where you have like the beginner phase of I'm learning. And then like you kind of maybe either make some money, you're kind of getting some momentum and you're like, you kind of start feeling yourself a little bit.
Sure.
And you're like, okay, all right. I know what I'm doing. I'm feeling good. Feeling good. And then you can even like move forward and then you see like a real photographer. Like if you're seeing like I remember like seeing like Aaron the first time.
Yeah.
And like I'm seeing like how he's shooting, and then I remember like going out to the football field, and I'm seeing guys that have done it for like 50 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, just kidding, just kidding.
I'm not hot shit.
I'm not. More. I was like, no. I was like, and then you become this like forever thing of, oh, you're just like I'm forever learning.
Yeah.
And
you have to.
The best individuals are just kind of forever learning, and they've been forever learning for decades.
Yeah, the moment you think you're like, you know it all, and you're the best, and I really when the ego steps in, because we all have ego.
Yeah.
But when it steps in and just really takes control, that's when you might be fucked. Like for me, I did that. I had one really good year. I think I might have made 10 grand.
Yeah.
The whole year, and just for photography, which was great because it was all extra.
Yeah,
I was like paying off some credit card bills or whatever. But I did get this complacency about booking things and returning, delivering the work. things like that,
Yeah.
and because you're like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. But like, I know you can't be that way. You've got to just suck it up, buttercup. And sometimes, relationships are going to fall off because you're doing your thing. And that's in any business, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to be a fucking savage, unfortunately.
No,
to make it.
You're absolutely correct. I mean, one of the best advantages that I had to where I had, again, it goes back to the whole time thing. I didn't have any kids or commitment to where I meant I was the type to where as soon as like the shoot would be over, I'd just go home and just edit it, and I'd have it to them in the morning.
Yeah.
And that was one way I was able to get a lot more business because
you set yourself apart.
You're kind of like, oh, like quick gets more work.
Absolutely.
Because
they want that shit now.
Exactly.
While
they're excited.
Right. Well, and that's why a lot of people and I'm not, I could be speaking out of turn, but I think a lot of like sports photographers, they shoot dual. So they have RAWs going to this and then JPEGs, and then they upload the JPEGs and give them to the people right away so they can run it to the news or whatever, I think that's the way it works. If I've never actually been out on the field.
A lot, yeah. I mean, some of them, it's honestly is like I'm shooting like in between timeouts. I'm like sitting there on the sideline uploading. Like I'll see a lot of the LCCs which is basically like the content creators for the NFL.
Okay.
They'll sit there, and if a big play happens and like someone scores, they are literally like in that time frame uploading
real time.
Yeah, like real time getting it to them because they got to post it on their Instagram
before everybody else.
Scoop. So I mean they act crazy fast.
Yeah.
So what do you think the biggest reason photographers aren't able to scale? What is the biggest hurdle that the beginning photographers are running into, you think?
I think that people, when they're now it depends. I mean, I think that they think about the fact that maybe they're new, and their experience level, maybe they feel like their product isn't as good, so they're like, all right, I'll undercut myself, and instead of charging $1,000, I'll do a full 10-hour wedding for $500, whatever. And I think that once you start that path, which was another thing that I did, it was a mistake I had made. Once you start doing that shit, it's hard because the word of mouth is huge.
Yeah.
And if people, they did my whole wedding. They were there for 10 hours. There was 2 of them, because I bring my girlfriend with me. She's second shoots. So, I mean, like we'd have so much, product to send back, the deliverables were crazy, and I'd be editing for almost 2 months, just nonstop between work and then edit. All I did. But I feel like that would probably be, in my opinion, one of the probably many reasons why they're not able to scale up, if I had to guess. What do you think? I like how you turn the tables on me. He interviewing me now.
Hey, I like asking questions. I like asking questions, Yeah, I think that could definitely be it. I think it's hard.
It is difficult.
It's like it's like anything, you have to think you are, for one, this is fun. Like, this is a really fun job to do.
Yeah.
So it's going to be competitive. There's going to be a lot of people out there that are trying to get work.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very saturated industry, which I think, for one, I think the issue isn't that it's too saturated. I think the issue is that they don't know how to market themselves. Everybody's
100%.
trying to market to the exact same crowd.
Yep.
They're not trying to go to the air conditioning, facilities and doing photography there. No, they're all going to try to do, the real estate or the weddings or, or whatever, the model thing. And they've kind of niched themselves down, for it.
For so long, as long as I've been back, shooting again and in the digital realm, for so long, I've heard, and probably a lot of other people have heard as well, that you've got to niche down. You need to niche yourself into you need a niche so that you can, people can find you. They can, they go to look for, okay, you do golf photography or golf wedding photographer. That's really niched. You're not just a wedding photographer. You just do, but that's what I've been kind of been told, by so many people that you watch, all your content creators, whatever. And I've never bought into that. I don't like that idea. I like what you said. I like to be able to shoot whatever the hell I want to shoot. If I want to go shoot the, like you said, the air conditioner place, the lawnmower guys, the guys that did all the work on my house, I did a bunch of reels for them and stuff like that. It was fun. I love it. For me, it's like, and I don't know if you get this, probably not because you're doing well, but the more like something about when I get paid for a job, I kind of like lose a little bit of because you said this is a fun job to have. And it is. I love the art of photography and videography. I love it. I like being creative and all that shit. But I feel like when I go out and I'm like, there's this weight on my shoulder that, I got to do it, and so that's all I'm focused on. And I lose a little bit of that fun, a little bit of that creativity, because then I'm just like, well, I'm like a fucking robot. I got to get it just right. Because if I fuck this up, I only got one shot and they're paying me, so it's stress. It adds stress. I don't know if you ever get any of that.
No, I think you're definitely right for it. And I think there are certain people to where, they say like, don't make what you love your job because eventually you're going to hate it.
Right.
And I think that is definitely a very true statement for some people. But I think for other, like for me, there are definitely shoots to where, like if I shoot a wedding, I'm not like excited. I'm like, oh, yippee, I got to go shoot a wedding today.
Right.
It's like, oh, I got to go shoot a wedding today. But
fucking hate weddings.
yeah, it's like, but then like editing it and there's like bits and pieces where I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And like you're going to see the shots and everything. But then when you're kind of sitting back and understand, okay, yes, this is definitely work. But at the same time, this is so much better than working a 9-to-5 job and doing this on the side. And so I think it's, there's
a mindset.
You kind of have to shift the mindset of saying, yes, you take away the magic of just pure creativity,
right?
Because you have to think of it as a business, but at the same time, you're thinking, okay, if this is my primary way of making a living, yes, I lose some of the magic and the creativity, but this is an absolute awesome way to make a living,
right? As opposed to digging a ditch or building a house, putting shingles on a roof, whatever. I mean, I fully get that, and I probably let that thought slip right through my ears, or over my head or whatever, because I just focused. I was like, dude, I got a job. This isn't full time. I don't need to stress this much, But to your point, had I wanted to really make it a full time gig, I probably would have just sucked it up, buttercup, just dealt with the shit.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, there are certain things that you want to keep separate. Like for a lot of people, I don't know if I would recommend photography being a full-time career, because it's stressful, because, seeing, and that's one of the reasons I moved to social media, because I would sit here and I'd say, this month looks great. Next month I have some gigs. The month following I have zero income coming in technically.
Right. If you're not booked at 3 months out.
That is not a fun situation to be in, saying I'm pretty sure things are going to keep going.
Right.
But where I'm at currently, I was like, well, if like just work stops, I'm gonna be struggling in about a month and a half.
See, I had my friend Roy on here. He's a DJ. He's a wedding DJ.
Yeah.
And this dude's booked out through 2025.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's probably one of the top, if not the top, he's one of the top 5 DJs, wedding DJs in Jacksonville. But and he does other shit too. But, I just talking to him, I had him on the podcast, and I was just like, just talking to him though, it was like crazy to think that he is that booked out. And if I, as a photographer, if I was that booked out, fuck yeah, I'd quit my job.
Yeah,
I'd be gone. I was like, because you have that stability, you have that cushion, you feel confident and you're comfortable. Okay, we're gonna have work, and I get what you're saying. It's nerve wracking.
Yeah, and I have one. If you want to look him up real quick, look up Eli Elmore. And this is the sole guy, and you can look up Eli, to where he literally this is Eli, right there. So this is one of my closest friends. Picked him up from the airport
Just got
I
another
think
follower,
2 days
Eli.
ago, and he was in Africa and just kind of travels around. He's one of the
what
only
the fuck
people.
Is he? I'm sorry.
Oh no, yeah,
Why are we
it's
doing
insane.
this?
Yeah, he's just.
I hope he dropped, so there's got to be land right underneath him.
Yeah, he does. But if you look at some of the other ones, he is
Perspective is
definitely
everything.
he's definitely hanging. Like I've taken a few of the photos, and
That's
is
cool.
70 feet up in the air or whatever. But he is one of the few people that will just jump from job to job to job to job. And again, he has such a awesome word of mouth client base. But he is one of the few people that I know that can literally just go with the flow. He travels all over the place and he just goes, he'll make money, then will go, across the continent and say, I'm just going to take 2 months and go somewhere. And it is such a awesome thing to see, because I also know that for me, there is no way I could actually do that. I have to go, yes, I do this full time, but I made sure to where I'm I got to do some sort of, I do primarily retainer based.
Okay.
To where they're paying a monthly fee and I'm doing a specific amount of deliverables.
Okay.
And that is the way that I was able to turn my passion project of photography into an actual business, because I had that consistent revenue.
Okay. Yeah. How are you? I mean, so you have basically you have clients that are clients, always clients.
Yeah.
And then they pay you, like you said, a fee.
Yeah.
And so how are you getting those clients? Obviously, we know the word of mouth thing, but are you out beating the pavement? You going into these businesses, these places, and just being like, hey.
So every client I've ever had, and I'm going to go before I got bought out of the previous company, basically building up the Varnes Media, which I had, which I sold in September.
Okay.
Building that up to where we were doing, by the time I sold it, we were doing about 15 to 20 grand per month, revenue wise. But every single project that came from years of going back to a free project.
Okay.
To where, and this is going back to 2019. So
Okay.
from 2019 to essentially 2023. So 4 years.
Right.
Was building. So good example. I did a free headshot, and this is literally a timetable with the companies. I did a free headshot. I did a free family photo session.
Okay.
And that turned into the dad needed a headshot. And I charged him $50, and I made $50.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did a good job there. And all of a sudden, and he posted that on his Facebook. Well, another individual saw that and said, who did that? Reached out to me, so word of mouth. That came into doing some company headshots, and I made $150. Well, that company also was working on a little commercial, and they said, what would it cost for you to come in and do a commercial? And it was again, I am very new at this. This is the very first commercial I've ever shot. I charged them the biggest amount I've ever had, which was $500. And this was, it was over a course of a few weeks too. So they were definitely getting a bargain for sure.
Of course.
But it was my first one, and I'm I made $500.
They were like, this kid don't know what he's doing.
Exactly. but that person, $500. Then I maintain a relationship. They say, great, we actually want to do this maybe one per quarter. And so that was the first retainer, was, hey, one every few months, we're probably going to update this. From there,
hopefully you started charging
this
more.
is an actual business. So now I'm working with an actual business. So I'm posting that as well as they're posting that. And again, I'm just asking, hey, would you mind, if you have individuals that are looking for the same thing, I would absolutely just love the, if you were to let them know that, I do this.
Right.
And sure enough, about 2 months later, we have a company that reaches out to me and they say, hey, we saw so-and-so's video. Can you do that for us? And I say, great, I'll do it for $1,000.
Right.
And that was kind of the building blocks to where from one free shoot turned into, essentially by the end of everything, I was doing work for both companies.
Right.
And, by the end of it, I probably made $15,000 off of just that one relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that enough times, you do enough of these free shoots at the very beginning, then in the long run, you're going to make so many connections to where that 30 minutes that you take to make that connection and to show kind of a little bit of value,
Right.
you know, the art of reciprocity is a very, very real thing.
I feel like it's important to say to some of the photographers and videographers that are new and wanting to build a business, because I did the same thing, you know, a lot of free this,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of, but you have to be very careful about who you work with
Mm-hmm.
with that free stuff, and you have to be smart about it. Like you were smart, you found a business, you
Mm-hmm.
did these, like you said, you found a way in to the business, and whether it was a stroke of luck or if it was, you know, all by design,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you did this headshot, it went to another, you know, then you started doing the company headshots, and then now the videos. But like, what I'm getting at is I think that a lot of people, and I've told people that you're going to do a lot of free shit in the first like 4 or 5
And
years.
you're going to get taken advantage
and
of.
you're going to get, but like family, friends, you know, acquaintances and stuff like that, they will nickel and dime you to death.
Yeah.
Which it honestly should be the opposite
Yeah.
way. You know,
What's
I've got
the friends and family discount? Hey, what can you hook me up? It was
Right.
Can you hook me up with this?
right. Friends and family should be paying double.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not going to tell them. They should
Yeah.
just do it. But I mean, I've got friends that I would hire right now, but I'm not, and I've told them, look, I love you, and I would hire you right now to do like social media stuff for me. But I'm like, I
can't. Yeah.
I can't afford it, and I want to pay you full price.
Exactly.
You know, I bought this shirt from Stay Young Clothing.
Yeah.
My guy Tyshawn, and you know, he was trying to give me all kinds of discounts on shit. You know, I
Yeah.
was like, yo, full price, baby.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it. Like, the other day, this was probably a few months ago. Man, I was so proud of him. I hit up little Chris, who you had on the podcast a little while back, and he was like, "Hey, here's my price. It went up," and I'm like, "Man, I can't afford that. Congratulations!" I was like, "You're doing great." I was like, "Man, you're doing awesome, man."
I love it. I love
was
it.
Like, you're crushing it.
Yeah, I've got a buddy of mine, Marcus. He does a lot of like local rap artists. He'll do their little videos and stuff like that, and he does a really good job. He puts a lot of work into it. And he's charging $150 a video. I said, Marcus, I love you, man. You have got to fucking charge more. You know, I don't know if that's fake money that these guys in the video are throwing around, but they need to give you some of them bricks. That's all I'm saying. You know, drop a stack of that in my lap. But
Again, going back to that though, is you are going to charge what the market values you at. To where when I got, you know, the best way to do it is, okay, fill the book of business at those $150. And the minute you're saying, this is getting a little overwhelming, all right, jump to $250.
right.
And then build the market from there, then jump to $350. Then like you just kind of increase your prices as your demand increases.
Right.
And that's the best way to do it, because you know that the bottom 10% is going to drop off, or honestly probably the bottom 25%.
Yeah.
And it's completely okay, you know, to have that, because you're going to keep majority of your business, as well as now you're making room for
New
you know,
clients.
for the new clients. Like
Right.
if I were to only stay with high school sports, then I put myself into a box.
You really do.
And
There's only so many high schools.
and there's only so many high schools, and there's already so many photographers around to go there, to where, you know, you essentially have to continuously price yourself out of a level, and you kind of have to. You don't have to risk it necessarily, because you still are retaining business.
Yeah.
But you have to slowly increase your rate as you grow.
Right.
And that is the way that your business should do it. Or you are, as you're growing, you are bringing in people underneath to help you. To
Right.
where either you can charge based off your name is so good, and you can say, like a good example, Eli, his name is so good around with the people that he works with, he can say, this is my hourly rate and it's this crazy rate. Or you can have a lower rate, but you have people working under you that you're essentially, you know, subcontracting out to.
Right. Yeah, and I think a thing happens too where the photographers that do, you know, they do all the family and friends free shit or discounted prices. I think it kind of lowers the market value for
Yeah.
other, higher paying higher charging photographers that are doing better, because they have marketed themselves properly
Yeah.
and they've done all the steps to take. But then they're like, well, I got a friend that does it cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're kind of fucking up the game,
Yeah.
for yourself, not just me, but for you as well. Because when you get to the level where I'm at, you're going to have those fucking people doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that happens too. I don't know if you've run into that or
No, I think you're absolutely right, to where people are going to continuously price themselves down.
Yeah.
And that's what happened a lot with, honestly, like, good example, the photography studios in Jacksonville,
Yeah.
to where they all popped up, and then, I had a brick and mortar for a long time, and luckily we didn't operate out. Like, we had a photography studio in there, but we also had a podcast studio. We had some other stuff in there as well.
Okay.
To
It's becoming quite popular.
It is. It is. And, as things were growing and everything, I'm really happy I'm not basing our income off of how much
One
we're renting
thing.
photography,
Yeah.
because, there's so people around there, and it's literally it's a race to the bottom. I think the way that you can solve that is understanding that, for one, understand your worth.
Mm.
Understand that, if you do a free shoot, then it is, for one, as in, and you are also kind of specifically pinpointing. So either you are doing it out of the kindness of your heart, which that's what I do a lot.
Yeah.
To where if it's friends and family, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I would love to, like friends will reach out to me, hey, I'm proposing, like. Yeah, I would love to help a buddy out.
Yeah.
Get that, like, to where just kindness of my heart. I don't want anything in return. This is like, a friend that's good with a car, and hey, I got an issue with my car. Can you take a quick look at it? It's the same.
Right.
You're using a skill set to help to
It's
help.
a bartering
Yeah,
system.
to help your friends and everything. Yeah, exactly. So that is the one way to essentially use your talents.
Mm-hmm.
The other way is to use that as marketing, because that is one thing about photographers, and people really should understand this. Every time somebody posts your content, that is free marketing back to you.
Yeah.
As in, if you have any other business, you have to pay people to come and create content, and then you have to pay to push that content out.
Yeah.
With photography, the best way to market is by creating content for other people to funnel back eventually to you. So
Right.
you are essentially saying, this is my marketing time
Right.
to go out and shoot, to build a portfolio or whatever.
Yeah, I tell people
So-
all the time that I work with, models, whoever,
Mhm.
and like I said, right now I've kind of scaled the photography, videography thing back just so I can focus on this. But if I do jobs for people, or somebody says, "Hey, can you?" No problem, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Just make sure. All I ask, tag me. Collaborate,
shout out
do
or
the
do
collaboration
something.
thing,
Yeah.
so it'll show on my page, and you get likes, I get likes, it's all good. People know where to find me, all that good stuff. That is, to me, right now, I feel like that is the most valuable thing for me in this state that I'm in right now. Eventually, if if things start picking up and I'm getting more calls and things of that nature, then I'll kind of look at that. But did you, when you went to, I mean, you kind of glazed over this, you went to college for how many, 6 years, 5 years?
I went 3. I actually dropped out with about 6 classes left.
So what did you go to, did you have business, did you take business accounting and all that stuff? How did you get so savvy with the business? Because you're like a fucking walking encyclopedia right now.
Oh, YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube.
It is a good YouTube University.
YouTube
Whoop, whoop.
University.
Yeah.
So for one, I really enjoy the whole, I love photography and I love creativity, but I also love the whole entrepreneurship
Do you?
type vibe.
I think you have to love it.
I think, yeah, I mean, well, it's almost like a puzzle.
Yeah.
You have to figure out, okay, I have 0 work coming in. How do I get more work?
Yeah.
This is a puzzle. Let's figure out how to solve this issue.
You know Jit from Collab?
Yeah.
he said I think he said the exact same thing. It's like a puzzle. It's like trying to figure it out, and you just keep building up. But it's like a never-ending thing.
Yeah,
You know, it doesn't,
it's a new game to play. It's this never-ending game.
I don't have the patience for it.
Yeah.
Once I make enough money to pay somebody, see, that's my thing. I just want to do the work.
Yeah.
I want to do the photography. I want to do the videography. I want to be creative. I don't like any of this. I don't like social media at all, and I attribute that to my age. You know, I really don't go on there. If I don't have to.
Social media is a great tool, but the more you use it, the more toxic it becomes.
Oh, dude,
it is a great tool to use, but it is so toxic.
I have social
and bad
media
for you.
toxins,
and
oozing out
I'm
of
letting
my
you know
pores.
right now, I'm a part of the problem because I am the individual that's sitting with a business or sitting with an entrepreneur and saying, okay, if we want to retain attention, we are doing X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
So I am literally a part of that problem of the toxicity. So I know it's bad for you.
What's funny, you know, and it's got to be because of the field that you're in. But when I started posting, you know, those reels and those stories and stuff, I started getting. I don't get them very often, but I started getting these like little ads and stuff from people like grow 50,000 followers. But you know, I'm like block.
Yeah.
You know, I immediately if somebody follows me and like messages me anything, and I go to their page and they've got no posts, but they're like telling me that they can get me like, and I'm like, hey, I'm never gonna pay for fucking likes and follows ever.
Yeah.
It's an ethical thing for me. I just won't do it. To your point earlier, I want real people that actually like me and what I do.
I want them in the United States that are actual real
I don't give a fuck where it's at. I mean, you know, for the podcast, it could be out,
I guess you
out of the
could be
country.
anywhere,
yeah, as long as they understand English, it's all gravy. You know, be a viewer, be a subscriber. You know, it's fine with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, for photography, I've definitely boosted posts on. What do you think about boosting posts on Facebook and Instagram?
So currently, if you boost post from your phone, it's going to take a 20% charge to push it out. If you run it through the ads manager, it won't take that commission. But
is that Meta?
The
Meta Business Suite.
Yeah. So boosting works great in specific situations, but I would honestly just run it through the ad, the actual Meta ads.
Okay.
So when it comes to currently,
does it help at all, or I mean,
actually, yeah, it really does. It is I mean, I think it depends on what you're wanting it to help. As in, if you are trying to sell a specific product,
right,
then absolutely. The way Facebook ads are currently working right now is that it kind of has to learn who your audience is. You can kind of create your target audience,
right,
but you really kind of want to. It basically has built it to where in order for it to work properly, you have to spend enough money for it to essentially find your audience.
Yeah, your people.
You know, your people. So that is the best way to use it. My personal thought is that before you start spending, you know, hundreds of dollars and running ads, you think, okay, what?
You better have a plan.
Yeah, have a plan, as well as think, okay, how many? If I were to sit down and say, okay, hey, here, you know, who are 10 individual people that I really, really want to connect with and take them out to dinner? Would that be more beneficial than spending $250 on Facebook ads?
Right.
You know, that's kind of my thought process. Is you have the best way to grow in the history of mankind is going to be through word of mouth.
Right.
You know,
actual networking,
like actual, you know, handshake, look the person in the eye, which is even easier now because everybody wants to work from home or work from Zoom.
Right.
So if you're actually like there, feet on the floor, that's probably going to go the best route. And then from there, it's kind of like they have to kind of see you multiple times through Facebook, to where if they see you being tagged, then they see maybe a like sponsored post or a boosted post.
Right.
Well, now you don't have to pay extra for them to actually call on you. They've seen you in other places.
Right.
So that's kind of my thoughts on it. Is before we say let's, you know, put like that. The issue that a lot of people get wrong is they're saying, all right, I'm going to have ads to immediately build a book of business.
Right.
Well, if that actually worked, then everybody would run ads to build a book of business.
Right.
But
Right.
right, majority of the time you're literally just like throwing the money away for it to reach an audience that is not really gonna hit. Like it has to be like a repetitive thing.
Right.
You know, people are think like it basically is like, oh, I'm gonna work out one time to get a 6-pack.
I tried that.
I tried that.
I tried that last week. It didn't
I know.
work. I'm still a fat tub of lard. No, man, you're right. And is there like a and I know this is a dumb question, but is there like a minimum dollar amount, like per? Because I like when I do boost posts,
Yeah.
I will like I won't go over like $50.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's my fucking limit.
Yeah.
$50 each time, but I don't do it very often. So
I think firstly, what is your goal?
yeah. Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, what depends. I mean, when I was doing it before, I was maybe running a promotion for my photography, where I was for graduation photos. Let's just say, and like I did a thing during COVID, because I know like my daughter was graduating right at that time, and they were doing homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
She was graduating that year, where they started homeschool, and they weren't going to walk. They weren't going to graduate. So I said, what can I do to like help these kids and their parents? Man, we got to do something. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to do free photos for whoever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Any graduate, we'll do graduation photos for free. And I started, I made like 3 or 4 videos explaining it. I did like the beginning video, and then like a reminder video, and then like a final video. And I kept uploading them, and then re-uploading them, and re-uploading them. And then I started boosting them on Facebook and on Instagram. And I got booked out. Yeah. I made it one day, and I'm 8 hours. I was gonna stay out
just
there,
knock it out.
but. Let me get my water. No one showed up, and somebody
really,
yeah. I had people hitting me up, and just like I said, I booked every slot, and no one showed up. And somebody told me after the fact, they're like, "You should have charged at least $20, because when people pay
like a little
for
deposit or something,
people pay a little bit of something, they'll show up."
Yeah. Dang, really? That is kind of crazy though. That not one person showed up.
Yeah, so I went that day, and I was like, I took all those fucking videos down. I was like, fuck that shit, But I'm never doing that again, But at least I tried. But yeah, but what was funny is when I boosted the post, I started getting people from other countries. Yeah, and I specifically set my audience. But I started getting people, they're like, don't speak very good English. It's all broken English. Yeah. And they're like, do you take picture of me? I'm like, yeah. Bro, you're not even in the same country.
Yeah. And that's kind of good example. I know Facebook ads more than most people, and I don't run Facebook ads because I understand like this is like a skill set.
Right.
So, it's kind of like, all right, it's like anything. Yes, I understand specific types of, little like home, chores, things to do. No, I am not about to try to renovate my house. Like, there are stages. I can nail something into the wall. No, I am not ripping down a wall.
Right. I can hang a picture frame.
Exactly. So, there's just tiers to it. I think that if you really want to learn Facebook ads, I think it's a great skill to learn. I think it's a great thing to have. I think that's like step number like 12.
Okay.
We got like
so
11. Yeah, we got 11 other things to try before we get to Facebook ads.
So get your popcorn, kids. He's laying all the secrets out right now.
Oh shoot!
You've been doing it, man. No, I mean, does it? Just saying that made me think about the fact that like you're just like you just naturally give this information because like you said, you learned a lot of it for free as well from YouTube. So it's great. That you're doing that. Does it ever make? I mean, I'm not even gonna ask that question because it's a dumb question. Because
ask it. Yeah, let's.
I guess there's no dumb question except for the ones that aren't asked, right? But it's like, does it make you worry? Like, you're not like a gatekeeper. You're just like, I'm going to tell everybody everything, and because you can literally, and I know this is true. I'm sorry, my ADD is bouncing all around. But I know this is true. You could literally set a package down in front of everyone and tell them everything you need is in this package, maybe 1% of those people will actually do it.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, if you think about life in general, that's, hey, how do you get healthier? All right, move more, eat less. How do you get a successful photography business? Okay, well, do good work for clients, improve your skills, try to improve your skills every day, have good communication, market yourself, and try to meet as many people as possible. All right, like, I think the thing is majority of people aren't going to do what they know what they're supposed to do,
right?
Because they're going to just kind of go what is easier,
right?
In a lot of ways, which is kind of, I mean, it is what it is. It's not bad, not good. It's just what someone wants to do, but
yeah,
it does kind of suck to
get out what you put in.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of sucky knowing that a lot of people, and I know you've probably been through it, is you see a person with a ton of talent, a lot of opportunity, and you're feeling like you're just like pulling them along. You're like, I am literally trying to, I am wanting this more for you than you want it for you.
Right.
It
happens. I'm probably on the opposite end. Like, there's probably a lot of my friends that are like, dude, God, I want you to succeed so badly.
Yeah.
But there's things that I wish they would say, because sometimes I never know. And I think this is a lot, again, ADD, it's just popping off.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's a lot of people that don't realize what they're doing is a detriment to their growth. They don't know it. And if their friends are fucking watching and you're seeing it happen, say something.
Yeah.
I have had people, some of my good friends, like my friend Jen, she will tell me straight every time, like, that's fucking ugly. Don't do that. And
you need friends like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I do because I don't know. I don't know like, I'll post shit like split test almost, like what.
Yeah.
I just created a new thing for the thumbnails on YouTube, and I was like, you guys like this or nah? And I'm gonna do eventually what I want to do, but I like to get a little feel for what people
Absolutely.
out there. Yeah, because I'm not like the most hip dude. I think you got to do that shit though. You got to like put the work out there and say, you guys like this? Not that I'm doing it for y'all, but I just kind of want your opinion.
Yeah,
I want to hear that opinion.
Because I you don't know everything, and
No.
not every it's good to get different points of view.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think also one thing that, and again, this is something that I think everybody needs to work on, is understand that different people have different focuses, different interests along everything, to where this is something that, I've dealt with. I'm like, why just do X, Y, and Z? And it's like, okay, well, we don't know what's going on in that person's life beyond that either. To where we think, we don't know, what, responsibilities they have, what mentally they're going through. And so we can say, oh, it's really, if you're a photographer, it's really easy. You just do X, Y, and Z. But, everybody kind of needs to understand that
there's a lot of other factors.
There's a lot of other factors and ulterior factors. And I also understand that I had a lot of things that fell into place at the right time.
Right.
And there was a lot of luck that that came into it. Yes, there was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
I will say, the harder you work, the luckier you will get. But there definitely is a lot of luck.
Yeah, I think it looks like luck. You may feel like it's luck. Other people may see it and they're like, that guy's so lucky. Like my friend, the Lucky Fool, clothing line. But but I think that when you bust your ass and when you're working your ass off, it can look like, and you're becoming successful. To those that are looking in from the outside, it can look like, wow, this guy's so lucky, but they're not. Also, Jen has said that, you're only going to see what I want you to see.
Yeah.
I don't show people everything about my life.
Mm-hmm.
If I do go on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, it's like, here's what I want to talk about. This is what I'm telling you. And that's it. I'm telling you this, and that's all you get. You know, now Facebook is more like family oriented.
Yeah, it's more.
almost.
Yeah,
It's like my
it's
family's
more personal.
Yeah, I mean, I have 3 Facebook pages, so it's like, you know, I've got my personal shit, and then I've got my business stuff, pseudo business, whatever. It's not really business stuff, but anyways, do you think is it important to get the LLC or corp or all that good stuff or whatever you get?
So this is what I would recommend if you are getting started in photography. Your day one. All right, let's figure this out. Want to start a side photography business to eventually turn it into a full-time income. Go to the bank, start a separate bank account in your personal
Check.
in your personal area, and you just say, hey, can I just get a debit card here? And that's essentially just going to be all of those side purchases, camera equipment, all that, because all of that is tax write-off income or expenses.
Right.
So that's what I would recommend first and foremost.
That's smart because I'm fucking bad at it.
You know, just keep
horrible.
like literally just have one debit card, and you can still keep it same personal thing.
Yeah.
Just have one debit card. Anything that could be potentially business related, that could be gas if you're traveling, that can be equipment, that can be laptops, that can be tables
Everything,
that you get,
yeah.
like everything in here. This garage is all tax write off. You can write off your rent, your mortgage, whatever. For this being,
I thought about doing that this
Yeah.
year, and I was like,
So-
I'm not gonna roll the dice.
No, you absolutely could. To where this is probably in this room, we'll say 600 square feet. If let's say your mortgage is $1,500 a month, I think like the tax write off would be like $250 a month. But that's like what, $6,000 a year or something like that, a little over that, like
Yeah.
around there. Like that's a chunk of cash right there that you can save. So that's kind of the first thing, is just kind of setting that aside of just saying, all right, I don't have to scroll through my bank statements to find the camera gear that I bought last October. So that's the first thing. And then when you probably start making, if you're making below 10 grand a year, this is not advice whatsoever. All right. I am not an accountant at all.
Yeah.
If you're making that amount, babysitters are making more than you most likely.
Right.
So,
Well, I've heard that
If
you
you
don't
aren't-
even have to like file.
if you're not,
If-
if you're making, if it's all cash, if like it's low, like I think you'll be okay. But if you are starting to make more than 10 grand per year, you start an LLC, start a separate bank account. You can go to the bank, and after you get a LLC,
You have to have
if
the
you are
LLC for your business account.
If you are in Florida, it is called sunbiz.org.
Yep.
That is the title. You'll get a LLC. It's going to cost you $135. From there, you're going to want to get what's called an EIN number, which is essentially your tax number, which also, if, tinfoil hat people out there, it is the same amount of numbers for your Social Security. So what a lot of businesses will do, and a lot of people will do, is if let's say you have to put in information or anything like that, they can put in their EIN number over their Social Security number,
right.
and they are a business that's kind of working in that way. And so this essentially protects yourself if something goes wrong, to where they
Right.
can go over all the if someone nothing really kind of matters up until this point tax-wise or anything like that. What getting the LLC means is essentially you are separating yourself to where if you screw something up, they can only come after that. They
business.
can't come after you.
Right.
So that's the sole reason that you need to kind of do it. You don't need to get an S corp or anything around there. Just get an LLC. You'll get an EIN number. Then you go to the bank, say, I want to open up a business bank account. They will open it up. They'll give you a credit card or a debit card. I would personally say, see if you can do potentially a credit card, just so you have that limit, just in case to have that as
Backup.
backup to the backup to the backup. It's good to have. I've very, very, very rarely used it. I've just generally used a debit card. And then from there, you have a business and go.
Yeah, roll. Keep doing what you're doing. So now we talked about all of that, like all the ins and outs of running a business, and I appreciate that because honestly, I've asked so many people, watched so many YouTube videos, and it's still out of the grasp of my brain.
Yeah.
It just
People make it
goes
way
over
more
my head.
difficult than it actually is.
Yeah. And I feel like too, it's like it's a little scary when you start getting
100%.
EINs and shit, and like tax time.
When you get a letter from the you'll get a letter from the IRS, and it is the most nerve-wracking thing ever, and be like, "Oh, look, you're established," but you're like, "Okay."
Yeah.
But you're like, I'm like, okay, I'm about to get
Audited.
investigated by like the FBI or something. Like I remember
Right.
getting the first letter, and I was like 19 or 20.
Yep.
And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, IRS. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last time I got one of those, it's not good.
Yeah.
But so I appreciate you giving that knowledge. It's probably some things that hopefully the viewers, needed to hear. And any other knowledge you want to drop, feel free. But I want to know what makes Andy Varnes tick, man. Like, who is Andy Varnes, man?
Ooh, okay. Okay. Like, what do you want to know? You want to know me personally?
Yeah,
You wanna
let's
know
talk
me?
about
Okay.
let's talk about some personal stuff.
Yeah,
like what's
so-
going on in your life? Like, you grew up here in Jacksonville. What kind of life did you have growing up?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think what put me down this path of entrepreneurship is my dad worked for a company, and I remember, and he's the hardest working person that I know, and I see. Just like, again, you just like growing up, worked all the time. Amazing dad. I remember when 2008 crashed. So like when that all happened.
Yeah.
Again, I was a kid, but we still knew what was going on. We kind of understood. All right.
You felt the strain.
Parents are stressed a little bit. The world's stressed. We're seeing little clips on the news when we're walking past and everything. So you understand. All right, things aren't going good. And I remember realizing, even though my dad is really, really good at his job, that if enough bad things happen, eventually it's going to walk up to where he's at in wherever he's at. He could be doing the greatest job in the world, but if the overall company isn't doing well, then he could essentially be fired potentially. So obviously, luckily, like that didn't happen or anything. But I remember like realizing that and being like, so I can be doing the greatest job ever and still be fired because of something else.
Yeah,
going
everybody
on.
else is messing it up.
And I think so that kind of like ingrained in me a little bit. Fast forward to this whole entrepreneurship little launch thing. I was always an athlete in life, and when I remember one day it clicked, because again, I look like this. So your boy had to struggle to get the playing time to like figure it out. Like,
what do you mean I look like this? I'm like, you're you're a handsome guy. What are you talking about?
Well, there's this thing out. So all right, in the athlete world, there's this thing called milk check. All right,
What the fuck?
to where if I check into the game, so I played football and basketball.
Yeah.
I check into the game. This is basically basketball generally. I'd get milk checked to where so generally I'm the only white guy on the floor. So they're like, all right, we're just gonna get the ball over towards your area and see if you can actually play or not. And so I would get milk checked every game.
That is very racist.
That is very true, though.
No, but I
very
honestly,
true.
I have no idea. I've always been short, so basketball, I never even went on the court.
Hold on, real quick. Hold on. So we got Connor from Who Are You podcast.
What's up, Connor?
What's up, guys? Said LLCs are the move. I'm going to apply to be applying to get mine soon,
Yeah,
as
you
well as
need
getting
to.
website.
Yeah.
But he also said, where did you go to high school at?
Oh, I went to a very, very little preppy high school
Bulls.
called Christ Church Academy.
Okay.
It used to be Manager Christian.
Okay.
It then got investigated for recruiting.
Okay.
Changed its name. My mom worked there, and so I went there. And so I went to that school. Then I played travel basketball. So I went from I think we had 3 black kids in our grade, and then I was playing. And then I jump to like travel basketball, and I'm like the only white guy. So I had like quite the like different different cultures, different vibes going on. And so it was I loved it because I just got to see so many things. Then I went to school, and they recruited from Jacksonville, and then one of the biggest areas they recruited from was Detroit.
Oh, wow.
And so my best friends, really to this day, were guys kind of like from like
Detroit.
right in Detroit.
Yeah.
Definitely different lifestyle, different ways they grew up.
Yeah.
But so, like that's honestly such a big blessing, is put yourself into different cultures, different backgrounds. Like I remember we had so many different, like I'm Christian. On our team we had
Sorry
atheists,
about all the
we
F-bombs, by the way. My bad.
Oh,
I have a potty mouth.
it's all good. It's all
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
It makes the conversations good.
I can't help it.
I'm one of those cool Christians.
Okay.
I'm one of those.
All right.
I'm one of those cool guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't show this to
Don't
the
worry.
congregation.
I know. Don't worry. But it was, we had like a Muslim on our team. We had a Buddhist on our team.
Yeah,
we had some
diversity is good.
Like
We need
was,
more of
it
that.
was awesome. It was so cool to just like, talk to different people, think like different lifestyles.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
that's the way to do it.
That is the way to do it. I think that's one of my favorite parts about doing this is learning all the different lives that people grew up and, how they. And normally, I took a page from Connor, the guy that just chimed in. I normally don't ask a lot of questions about your childhood and like how you grew up, but I'm genuinely curious, and
Yeah.
but his podcast is called Who Are You? And you'll probably be getting a hit up from him. If not, you should hit him up.
Yeah, for sure, man.
His podcast is great, but he really does, he likes to, he'll get in there,
All right. So
Yeah.
so he'll figure out what
He's gonna
issues
figure
are
out who
going
you
on
are.
in my head.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for sure,
You know.
sure. Yeah, but that it is great, man. And I think that like I got what year was it? 7th grade. I got it was a magnet school program, and I got sent from Mandarin to Matthew Gilbert.
yeah.
And it was predominantly black, and but I had the best experience. In that school, and it wasn't because I wasn't raised to. I didn't think my mom never was like, okay, there was none of that stuff. I saw people. I didn't see like. I never gave a shit about color.
There's a difference between there's a difference in how we dress and just different areas in the neighborhood. Like
Yeah.
I remember like the first time when they were putting lotion on them. I'm like, why are y'all putting like lotion on you? Like, we don't want to get ashy. I'm like, what do you mean ashy? And they're like, what do you mean? Like, and they're like, and then I was like, and then realized I'm like, y'all don't sunburn. Like, I was like, like there's just different
Things you learn.
There's just
Yeah.
things you learn. It's always a good time. So
I
yeah,
get
mean,
ashy as fuck.
I think
I think that's just because I got old ass skin.
I think as
My skin is like old leather.
I think realizing though, like, oh, we do get ashy. I'm like, oh shoot, I need to like.
Yeah, we
put
just
on
don't.
some-
Yeah,
We just don't show it as much.
yeah. Just don't wear a black shirt. You're
exactly.
all right.
Then we're good. So, but
No,
shoot,
that's
what
good.
were we talking about? I forgot.
You were talking about growing up and,
Yeah.
going to that nice school and then
Yeah.
going and getting all that diversity and learning about people.
But yeah, I basically when I was going down this route, I basically said I'm going to sacrifice up until the age of 25 my fun life, and this was like a decision that I made to where I said, my thought was I was going to spend 4 years playing basketball. When that ended, I said, okay, either I could spend 4 years partying, doing whatever, going crazy, or whatever, or I can basically get a head start in life and kind of have
Build yourself.
have like playtime, because I didn't think my life was going to start until I was completely out, potentially go try to play, overseas or go do something, I didn't think my life was really going to start till probably 24, 25. So that's like the age I am now.
Mm-hmm.
So I was 18 when that happened. And so I said, I got 7 years to basically play with before I thought my life was really going to start. And that meant that I could fail at so many things like it was ridiculous the amount of things that I could fail at and
Right.
still be like, I'm still playing with like play money here. Like
Yeah.
this is like I can be completely broke. I can try and fail, and I'm still ahead of the game of where I thought I would be in life.
Yeah.
And so doing that, kind of, I think it really, really boosted me forward dramatically in life because I got to get rid of a lot of those like learning lessons away quickly. All the learning lessons that my friends made when they were 23, 24, I had made that when I was 19.
Right.
So all the like pitfalls and like failures and, I was kind of telling you like before, like, we had a staffing company that we built up, lost a lot of money, built it back up. Like it was like absolutely crazy. Sold that company.
At what age were you when you had that?
I was 22.
Jesus.
I was 22.
I said this before, but I dude, I didn't know my asshole from a hole in the ground, when I was that age. I honestly didn't. And shortly after I got married and had kids and, I was like, that's the way I'm supposed to go.
Yeah. And I was blessed enough to find YouTube, and I don't even know what little YouTube thing sparked it, but by the time I was 22, I had tried e-commerce, I tried drop shipping, I tried forex trading.
Okay.
I tried, lost money
You did
there.
all that.
Yeah, forex trading. I've wrote 2 books. Actually, I wrote 3 books and tried to sell them online. I wrote.
You wrote books.
I did.
On what?
I didn't. So
curious. And are they still? Can you find them or no?
You actually can.
Are they on Amazon?
So yeah, you can. Yeah, if you look up my name on Amazon, you will see them. But I wrote one that was called Mind of a Millennial, and I essentially tried to break down what our mind was. It's literally, I'm a broke college student, and I'm trying to find ways to make money. And I realized, I can sell these for like a few bucks. I'm like, maybe they'll buy them.
Who knows?
So,
it could have turned into something.
Hey, I made like $10 a month for a pretty good while. I'm just like little like random person where I'm like, cool.
That's like a sub sandwich.
Yeah,
maybe a drink.
I used to be.
Yeah,
used to be. But did that. I did. Obviously, heard about the little clothing thing I tried.
Right.
All the art,
right.
like all the different things. I attempted to be a musician for one afternoon.
For one afternoon.
So I can play guitar slightly. I can play enough to keep it.
Know how to hold it.
Essentially, yes. I got like. Do you play instruments?
I'm a drummer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got the G, C, D, E minor, B minor down. I got the minor chords down a little bit.
One afternoon.
Huh? Well, no. I can do like that. Like I can get that part. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna. So I was living, I was in Atlanta at the time, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go down to Piedmont Park, which is like where like a lot of like the like city stuff is. I'm just gonna play. I'm just gonna like play on the street, and it was so pitiful. Like it was so bad.
I will pay you to put the guitar away.
No, like it was so bad. I accidentally like pissed off a cop because when you're like a dumb kid, you actually don't like know anything.
Right.
And so he was like, this is highly illegal.
You gotta have a
apparently,
permit.
and I'm like, how is it illegal? I'm just out here playing a guitar.
Yeah.
And it was even so like. It's bad when I was like looking for like quarters and pennies to like throw into my little bucket
to make it look like you got
to
some
make it
donations.
look like I got some. but I did all of those things and it like just kind of compounded on all these little lessons learned, and then honestly YouTube University got me so far ahead.
You've always been entrepreneurial minded. Like you've always wanted to do something on your own.
Once I put the sports away, once I quit sports and I was like, I can't do this, like then everything shifted because I was just like, oh shoot, okay, this is fun. That was the only thing that like I fell in love with of just like I was like, all right, I'm not the type to just like go for a walk.
Right.
I gotta do something. I gotta, do something active and fun. And this was fun. Like I was like, okay, it's like what we talked about earlier, like solving the puzzle.
Right. What about kids, man? You got any kids coming or
No,
nothing
so
on the horizon? Still
as
single?
of actually 1 month ago, I proposed.
Oh,
Yeah, I proposed.
Congratulations.
So I now have a fiance.
that's awesome.
So
You're
it's
growing up so fast.
We're trying, man. We're trying. It's going too fast. So she is currently. So and again, it goes back to I'm in certain situations that I understand that people aren't.
Right.
To where she is currently in vet school.
Okay.
Which is not in Jacksonville. So
Right.
she is currently in St. Kitts. That's the island that she lives on. That's the
island.
yeah. It's a school called Ross University. So she is gone
Wow.
for majority of the year, which means that that's also essentially my like social life gone. Because we talked about like I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go out. It's like
she was your social life.
she was essentially my social life. So
What's on Netflix tonight, honey?
like that's like literally that's kind of the way. So like like the most fun thing that I can do right now is work. Like that is so much fun.
Pour
to me.
yourself into it.
Of just pour myself into it, create, figure things out, solve problems. It's fun. And so yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I in 2024 I had the two companies, sold them both, sold the staffing company, sold the social media company. And the reason that I sold the social media company was honestly because I realized I didn't know enough.
Okay.
I sold the staffing company and I started to dive into Varnes Media Company full time.
Right.
And I said, great. And I essentially plateaued for like a month and a half because I was trying to go from what I knew really, really well, which was photography, videography, and social media, and just kind of like focusing on those three. And I try to do email marketing and potentially websites and kind of like saying like, all right, if I'm legit, I got to do like all these things.
Right.
And I realized pretty quickly that this was going to be quite the uphill battle. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I've basically learned everything from like YouTube at this time. I've never really had like a mentor. And sure enough, I get invited to do like a TV show interview and go in and get introduced to this company, and one of the kind of the founder of it, he brings me in his office, says, hey, we are essentially re-kicking off this marketing company. Do you want to come in and essentially lead the way of the social media, photography, like that whole kind of division? And essentially bought me out, acquired my company.
So they had just like absorbed Varnes Media, or
so so they bought me out, so there was some stuff there, and then essentially the rest of it was think of almost like stock options.
Okay.
To where essentially I became an owner into this new company.
Cool.
And
so good for you, right?
We're kind of figuring it out.
So that's where you're at now.
And that's kind of where I'm at now to expand, which is kind of giving me another, even more opportunity.
Yeah.
Because, essentially I went from saying I have done this, and this, and I'm working, I'm kind of doing okay in my like I went from like a puddle to like, a pond to a lake. Well, now I have kind of the resources. Now I'm in like the ocean, and I'm saying, oh, we've worked with 1,000 brands,
right?
And I can say that, and I can say, oh, I got a full team, and kind of go from there. So,
that's good.
But really, I get to go in every day and learn from people that have done it and have succeeded in it, and that's.
I'd probably just
amazing.
Be excited about the access that
that's
you
how
get.
I feel. Yeah.
Like, I get all this access to whatever I want to do now, because like, that's dope.
That's literally how I feel every day.
To a content creator, that's like the golden ticket.
Yeah.
And I saw your post. Was it on your story? I think it was on your story. Like the little all access passes that you would make and print out and put them in a little.
Yeah. All right. So here's the secret. Here's the secret. If anybody wants to get in this, literally got me into everywhere but basically the Jaguars.
Hmm.
Was
Yeah.
I would go if
They
you want to
actually
go
check.
shoot. Yeah, they sadly do, but you go online, find the opposing team's logo. So not like the home. So like if you're going to like Mandarin and it's like you go to like Atlantic Coast High School,
Right.
get their logo, who they're playing. So like you look like you're visiting team.
Uh-huh.
You do that. You Photoshop their logo on there. You put your name. You put whatever company. Honestly, if you want to be terrible about it, like I never did this, but
Yeah.
if you want to,
Yeah.
it again not advice.
You make your own press
You could
pass.
always be like, I'm going with Times Union or do something along
yeah.
those lines.
Yeah, you might get in trouble on that
You
one.
might yeah. I mean, you very could. Again, this is not legal advice whatsoever. Like this is not. Do not take any advice to this. But it
These
got
are
me
all suggestions that are these are things that he's done. And he can't really suggest you do them.
Yeah, these aren't even suggestions.
Yeah,
These
act
are
at your own
just-
accord.
This is just just talking. Just
And all the actions and comments made by Mr. Andy Varnes are not the views of this show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everything was done allegedly.
Yeah, it's alleged, except he put it on his story, so it's a little more than alleged now. But where is so what is and I asked this, and this is again a dumb question for entrepreneurs, and I say that because I've asked other entrepreneurs, and they're like, I already know the answer. Like, where are you headed, and what is the end goal?
Oh, that's a great question because I don't know.
Exactly. There is no.
So
Every time.
here's one thing that, and so my now fiance Sydney, we have had to work through this because she is about to be a doctor.
Yeah.
She has her like life like laid out.
Mm-hmm.
Like vet school, then doctor, which is this salary, and then eventually go XYZ. Like she
Right.
literally has like and like I'm like I have no idea.
So
Like,
you're just
I
trying to
have-
keep up with her, or
Essentially, like I mean, but
I mean, if she loves you, it shouldn't matter.
hey, yeah.
You work
hopefully-
hard.
Hopefully,
That's all that matters.
Hopefully, but anyways, I've had to realize that I am never going to be content in my life. Like that is something that, and it's always been a big struggle to where like it doesn't matter how or what I've done,
Yeah,
I'm always going to be looking to the next thing.
of course.
But I think that shouldn't affect your happiness.
No.
Like I think that just because you're always chasing, you're always going to figure something out.
Yeah.
That you can still be as happy of a person as ever. Like think of myself as a very happy person. Like I get up and I'm so excited to like tackle the day and everything.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm going to be 80 years old and I'm going to be like, I got an idea. And I'm going to be wheeling myself around and I'm going to be like in the nursing home, be like, guys, I got a new game that we're going to play. Like,
So you're saying that she has to have a lot of intestinal fortitude to put up with your antics.
Yes, she hears every dumb business idea before it reaches out.
She's your test market.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, she vetoes so many.
Good.
Like
She's probably saved your life.
Before I get out and like actually I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this. Like she has honestly probably saved me thousands of dollars by being just like, all right, this is
And from looking like an
I had-
ass.
I had like I'm trying to think like I think one of the worst ones was I had the thought of potentially, so this is when I had the studio. I was like, what if I convert the back into a gym and turn it into like an influencer gym here in Jacksonville? Like get rid of the studio, just have a gym.
She
And then
vetoed that?
she vetoed that.
I think that would probably be a pretty dope idea.
Okay,
Well,
well,
I'm another dumb guy. So
It's a niche market.
well,
it's quite the niche market.
yeah, but you see all these videos where dudes are like actually working out, and then there's people, influencers in there with their cameras videoing themselves.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it would be like it was bigger than this, but it would be like you being like, all right, I'm gonna build an influencer gym out of my garage.
Yeah,
It's like not the ideal situation
right.
there for
It's
it.
not the
So,
big 10,000 square foot gym.
yeah. So but yeah, I probably get a couple. I get a couple of those like per month.
Those ideas.
Yeah, like
that suck.
those ideas that suck. And yeah, and again, I'm all for it. Like again, I am all for fail as much as possible.
Yeah.
and figure it out.
You
Like,
fail up.
You fail up. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I I don't have those ideas. I've had them. Don't act on them. I veto them myself. That's probably due to a little bit of that. What is that? Imposter syndrome. Everybody gets it.
Oh yeah,
you know?
100%.
I get it even still with this podcast. I've been doing this for years, and I still get it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm not good enough. You're like, well, who am I? I'm gonna invite this person to my house in my neighborhood and to come sit in my garage. And but now 99% of the time, I don't give a fuck. I feel like what we have is good. But, there's that one little percent that's it's just in the back of your head. But I get like crazy thoughts, like weird shit, like the things that keep me up at night, like I told him on one of our podcasts, just like the fact that we're spinning at 1,000,000 miles an hour, hurtling through the cosmos, and there's no ceiling. We could fly off or explode at any time. Those are the types of things that I think about during the day when I'm just like working. And
see, those are the types I think about at night when I'm trying to
go to sleep.
And I'm like, what?
Like trying to shut that thing off in your head.
Yeah, dude, the brain don't stop. You got to have white noise. I have to sleep with white
all
noise.
right. See, I'm a TV. Just throw the TV on.
Yeah, same difference. But now I've got this. The exhaust fan in my bathroom has a fucking speaker in it.
And it works?
It's Bluetooth to my phone. So I just turn on some rain noises and thunder, and I crank it up, and and it puts me right to sleep. 'Cause it stops my brain from thinking. Isn't that weird?
Now, does it go off eventually?
No, I leave that shit on all night.
All night?
All night.
Okay.
I mean, I'll plug my phone in and everything.
I might need to try to start doing that.
Yeah, it helps. I mean, but if you have your TV, like I said, we just went through a remodel. I still have yet to hang the TV in my room back up. And when I do, I'll just open YouTube and let it run on the TV.
Yeah.
Because I don't like leaving my phone, going.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, but it for sure helps me to sleep. And, but who knows? But definitely for a creative mind, it's hard for it to just shut off.
Yeah.
It's one of them age-old questions, like how do I stop this from happening?
I mean,
how do I get off this train?
It's a very, very big blessing.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have. But yeah, you're definitely always
when you don't have to get up at like 4 a.m. It's a blessing.
Yeah,
you can get up at 2 o'clock at night and be like, or 2 o'clock in the morning, I guess, and be like, I had this idea, and write it down, and then go back to sleep. See, for me, I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I get ready and go to work.
Ooh, you're up before me. I'm 4:30 generally, 4:30 or 5.
Yeah, are you one of those Jocko Willink people, like up at 4:30 working out?
Nah, my brain is just so all over the place that by the time 9 a.m. hits and my phone starts ringing, productivity just plummets.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
I love Jocko.
Yeah. Every day there's a post with his watch.
That man's insane.
And I thought for a minute, I was like, he just takes the same picture and posts it. Nope. You can see the date and time.
Yep. He shows it.
I don't know if I could be that productive in the morning, other than, work. But hopefully one day we'll get that.
One day.
I'll be able to hire Andy Varnes Media and we'll be able to get this thing, to a different level.
Take it up a notch. I know. It's pretty. It's pretty awesome. I'm not going to
It's almost like you think I know what I'm doing.
You know what you're doing. You
think so?
Absolutely.
I mean, he said that. He's like, you're pretty good at this. I'm like, dude, I so don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
I've been on a few podcasts and man, and I've also had a podcast studio.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing.
Well, I mean, I don't ever write questions. And, the gentleman that popped in from,
who are you, Connor?
Nope, the other one.
Urban Curse.
Yes, Urban Curse.
Yeah.
Their podcast, there's 3 hosts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Troubleshoot in Reality podcast, they're great podcasts. Go check them out. But they'll write questions and have things written down to ask you. Like, I'm kind of nervous about going on their show. They want to collaborate with me, come on here, and then me go on there. And I'm just like, dude, I don't
know.
I don't write things down. I shoot from the hip, which sometimes can translate into weirdness, like awkward silence, what have you. But I try to keep it rolling.
Yeah, I think you're doing it. Have you had any guests on here to where you're just like, oh, this is
We won't
this is
talk
rough.
about that. No, everybody's
Like
been great.
this one right here. This
No,
one we're
everybody's
talking
been
about.
great. There are, some. I would probably say. I mean, I can't really say because everybody that I've had on has been awesome. Sometimes people, maybe the younger people, they don't really know how they want to answer a question, so it'll take a little longer time, whatever. But we keep it rolling.
Yeah.
But everybody's smart as a whip. I mean, I love it, and I love meeting people this way.
It's awesome.
And I think we're gonna. What do we do? 2.5 hours?
Hour and 55.
Really?
Oh, dang, really?
An hour and 55. Yeah.
Man.
2 hours rolls by. It goes by quick.
It goes by very quick.
If I didn't pay attention, we'd be at 3.5 hours before you knew it. And he'd be asleep over there. And you're starting to yawn too. I see it. trying to hide it.
No, we're good. We're good. We're good to keep rolling.
Yeah. Well, we normally cut it around 2
Yeah.
hours. So we'll start wrapping it up. But give everybody any social media that other than Andy, I don't know. Is that all? Is that
Got
what
it
you
on the
have?
screen.
Right now, that's
Instagram?
yeah, I'm just rocking with that right now.
Okay.
So I basically
Go give them a follow.
put everything on pause while I built the company that brought me on. I realized I was like, all right, we gotta focus on building this out first, and then in mid to the end of February, I said, okay, now I'm gonna double down on mine because I kind of started hitting the issue to where, okay, I've done this for a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Of
Doing it for
building
yourself is
building their
different.
stuff, and then I kept hitting. I'm like, oh wait, well then they'll go look at my profile and be like, you only got 2,000 followers.
Right.
Be like, you're charging these specific prices and only got this amount of followers. There's a red flag here, and I'm like,
Well, it's like
I was like, I got proof, but I see where they're coming from. So
it's kind of like the landscaper whose yard looks like shit.
yeah, I mean, doctors is worst patient.
Right.
It is what it is. So I said, all right, I'll double down on mine a little bit. Probably start pushing it a little bit more. So it's growing. It's growing.
Use
all
what
right,
you learned for your own.
Exactly. So, but I mean, if you want to talk about diversity, it's pretty. I definitely have sports on there,
Yeah.
but it's pretty diverse with the with the amount of content. Anything from bull riding to
Yeah.
NFL to magazine shoots to
No, I've been trolling.
airplanes. Okay, all right, cool.
I've been trolling. That's what I do. That's what I do. What is that van about? Go back up.
I'm on a van.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's me.
hilarious.
That's me right there.
Nice 6-pack.
Oh,
Good
thank
job.
you. It's funny when
Was it airbrushed?
when Sydney, my now fiance, came
Yeah.
into place. It just disappeared.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, it just.
I was
gone.
doing so good
Yeah.
until I moved in. I moved out of an apartment complex which had its own gym
Yeah.
and a pool. I would get up. I didn't have to be at work as early, but I would still get up at 2:30. I would go down, work out in the gym, and
Yep.
do laps in the pool. Go back,
then-
take a shower, go to work.
Yep.
And then I got this house. I got fucking pay for a gym membership. No. And then she moved in with me, and she cooks.
Yeah, and that's
She cooks, and I eat.
you're
Not
great
tonight.
at it.
Yeah, I'm really. That's like one of my strengths.
Yeah, that's
it's eating
one of your talents right there.
for sure. But you've given so much great advice for people looking to start just in an entrepreneurial way or just a business or what have you, photographers and anyone else alike. But what would be like before we split, because we're going to wrap it up. But because I will go all night. But we got to save something for the next time.
Hey, let's
you know
do
what I'm
it.
saying?
Yeah,
so part
absolutely.
2 coming soon.
All right.
Ew.
What kind of advice would you give to all these young people out there, that are hustling and they're just not seeing, whatever, they're not seeing dividends or
Yeah.
returns? Like, give them a solid piece of advice from
Okay.
Andy Barnes.
Hold on, we're gonna have to take a little awkward silence.
Okay,
here
let's
while
get
I
that.
Think of what to say, but yeah, when definitely been there, definitely understand that. I'll give a background on myself, and it goes back to you know, there were certain circumstances that helped me get ahead in life. When I came to Jacksonville, it was 2019 in the summertime. I did it part-time, then, while going to school. Then COVID happened. I did it all through COVID, and shooting, improving my skills. That's where I improved my skills the most, because I had nothing to do throughout the day. And then for the next 2 years, all I focused on was meeting new people and getting connections. And if the amount of individuals that I was able to meet that I had never met before in my life, and I met them through a camera, and I now have lifelong friends through the camera, and it was by putting myself out there. It wasn't the now friends that put me in the position where I am. It was the now friends' friends, and it was the now friends' business partners, and the now friends' family that made me money and connections and new business. But I had to put myself out there, and I had to shake as many hands as possible for probably 2 years, because we had COVID. I did part-time. I did a lot of things for probably 2 years. I did not charge. And this is a very hot topic of what prices to charge. I basically did favors for 2 years. And I just tried to meet and connect and grow with as many people as possible. And then when I felt like I had enough people that were saying, Andy, I want you to do work for me. And that's how you know when to really start taking it seriously, is when your phone is nonstop ringing up, hey, we got to shoot. And if it's not there, that's perfectly fine. That just means you got to go out there and meet more people. You got to make more connections. For a lot of people, they're kind of staying in their own bubble, and they're just kind of doing circles, and they're hitting kind of the same people over and over and over again. Well, that's not how you're going to grow. But when you hit that point to where your phone number is calling, and I can give examples of people to where, like in Jacksonville, I know their phone is constantly being called, and it's just because they know so many people in Jacksonville. That is when you're going to be able to jump in and take that leap of faith. And you can charge higher prices, and you can grow so much quicker. But it's kind of like you got to build that foundation first. You have to, as you're building your photography portfolio and your skill set, really, really focus on, who you're hanging around. Go ahead and put yourself in positions to meet potential people that would pay you more. And if that means that you're donating your services, again, donate. Make sure you use that word donate, because that implies I'm doing this for free, but I do charge generally. But for you guys, I am donating my services. That's when you're going to see a lot of headway. That's when you're really going to start making moves.
I think, and to reiterate, donate your time and services to the right people.
Exactly.
I think that's
good
advice, man.
Don't keep running in circles.
I think that's good advice, and I'm going to try and utilize that for my own stuff.
Absolutely.
I don't know how much I owe you for this consultation, but we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, man. And I would love to have you back on.
Man, absolutely. It was awesome.
It feels like we got so much more to talk about. So anytime you want to just wrap, we can talk. But thank you guys for watching and joining today. Go check out Andy Varnes on Instagram. Hit his social medias up. And if you're a company, we'll have to get back into that. But, like if you need his services, you better hit him up fast, because time is fleeting. It's filled up. He's booked. Man. So
man, thank you for having me on.
Heck yeah, man. Thanks for coming all the way out here, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
It was a really great time. Next week, we got another photographer coming on. So we got a month full of photographers. It's good.
That's awesome.
I love it.
Awesome.
I will see you next week, guys. I love you very much. See you.